Hello, GenderqueerChat viewers. Welcome to Fridays with Christina. Today's topic is how does your gender relate to your sexuality? Now, before I talk specifically about my own experiences, I'll go a little through my history of my crushes and so on and so forth. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is, yes, as people have been saying, your gender identity and your sexual orientation are two different things. That is clear. However, and they don't, like, one doesn't tell you what the other one is in the slightest. That being said, sexual orientation, the way that we define it, is currently in terms of what gender you are attracted to versus what gender you are. Heterosexuals are people who are attracted to the opposite gender. So that determines, that requires you to say, well, what gender are you? And homosexual is the same way. Bisexual, which I pretty much say that I am, I would say is a little bit less like that. That being said, bisexual generally gives the idea that there is just a gender binary, as opposed to people who say they're pansexual, who say they are attracted to all genders. So, take that as you will. I don't really place for my own personal sexual orientation, I don't really place a label on it. I used to say that I'm technically bisexual, but I'm more attracted to girls. So at first first I thought it was straight for the longest time, and then in early grade 10, I came out as bisexual, and then I started saying, well, I'm technically bisexual, but I'm generally more attracted to girls. And now, in more recent times, I have been attracted to, I currently have feelings for this, I guess he's a friend with benefits, for this FTM, genderqueer FTM, that I'm good friends with. So that's, I can't say that I'm, like, how do you categorize that, right? So, but I don't necessarily say that I'm pansexual, because I don't say that I'm attracted to everybody, because I'm generally not as attracted to, for example, cisgendered males. Or, for me personally, sadly, and I'm trying to combat against this, genitals, your physical sex kind of slightly makes a difference. Because, anyway. Sadly, for me, I'm trying to, I'm trying to combat against that, but, for now, it's kind of ingrained into my head. Anyway. So my history of my sexual orientation. As I said, growing up, I thought that I was straight. I thought that I was a straight cisgendered, before I knew the word cisgender, of course. I thought that I was a straight cisgender female, and that was that. But, of course, that changed as time went on, especially throughout high school. So, as I grew up, I had a few crushes on boys in my class. I actually did. Surprise, surprise, I actually did. And then I had, I think, a few crushes on women that I didn't realize I actually had crushes on. For example, I think I had a crush on my grade 1 teacher. Just saying. And I think I had a crush on, I know that I had a crush on these two specific female classmates of mine. And this was in late elementary, so grade 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I had crushes on them, and I didn't realize it. I thought that I just really, really wanted to be their friend. And then in junior high, I was pretty much exclusively attracted to males, to boys in my class. Interestingly enough. I didn't know anybody transgender, so that's not even in the equation. Unless they were transgender and I just didn't realize it, or they didn't realize it or whatever. So we're just talking about cisgender people here when I say male or female, except for my most recent crush. So there were, there were 3 boys, 1 each grade, that I was attracted to. And that was, so 1 grade 7, 1 grade 8, 1 grade 9. Grade 9, before I started grade 9, in the summer, I realized that I was bisexual, so I came out to myself. Let's see how I'm doing for time. It's all good. So in grade 9, before grade 9, in the summer before grade 9, I realized that I was bisexual. I came out to myself, and this was in the summer of 2005, when the music video for Shakira's "Don't Bother" came out, and somehow that aroused feelings in me, and I realized that I had an attraction to girls. So that was step number 1. And then in grade 9, there was this new girl in the class, and I had an attraction to her, and all the boys liked her too. And then in grade 10, there were a couple guys that I was attracted to, and then it was mostly females from then on. Mostly cisgender females, and I didn't really know anybody transgender at that point. So yeah, throughout high school, it was mostly cisgender females that I was attracted to, and then, of course, and I didn't question my gender until about grade 12-ish, or my 4th year at my high school. Anyway, so around then, 3-ish years ago, I started to question my gender. 2 or 3. That's about it. And then, of course, since then, my sexual orientation, I think it's pretty much stayed the same, but I've been more open to, of course, this particular FTM person, genderqueer FTM, that I'm attracted to at the moment. And yeah, I don't know. So that's been pretty much it. So I guess my sexual orientation has changed a little bit. Whether it's been related to my gender, slightly, I suppose, as I've learned, I think it's just in general, as I've learned more and more about gender and sexuality and been more open to things, then it's, those barriers have been removed, and I've become more open-minded about my sexuality, willing to, date whoever. And then I guess in other things about sexuality, in terms of not just your orientation, I guess I've generally become a little bit more open, I think, since I've been more open about to different genders and whatever, questioning my gender, learning more about gender, and so on and so forth. I suppose it also brings up the question of who's generally the dominant one in the relationship, or submissive. I think I prefer to be equals with someone, generally speaking. Or, I like to be dominant sometimes and submissive in others, and in all areas of a relationship, pretty much. Just as I am androgynous. I think that's about it. So I'm not sure what else to say. I guess I'm done for this week. I'll see you guys next week.